Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Star Citizens. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for this week's Star Citizen video. And here we are on day one of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2951. Some 930 years in the future. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Once again, coming to you from Microtech, New Babbage, in the Tobin Expo Center. So just like last year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, now if you're new to Star Citizen and you were wondering what the hell is the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, well, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is pretty much 2 whole weeks worth of festivities, worth of ship selling, ship trading, ship showcases, free fly weeks and stuff like that. So if you're new, by the way, to Star Citizen, for the next 2 weeks, I think you get to fly every single ship that is currently flyable within the Star Citizen game. So regardless of whether you own those ships or not, all you have to do is log in, create an account, and you will be able to fly every single ship that is flyable in the game. You will be able to fly it out and test it out and play with it for free for the next 2 weeks. So without further ado, welcome to the 2951 IAE Day 1. Then on this day, it is Anvil Aerospace's day. So for each day in the next 2 weeks, I think it's a day or 2 days, a different manufacturer is presented at the Tobin Expo Center. So today, as I said, is Anvil Aerospace. Now this year's theme is different. It's different from the previous year, and we have this thing. What is this? Sail the Stars. Let's go ahead and play this.
While it may be commonplace to sail through the stars, we should never lose sight of the wonders of spaceflight.
Nice. So this is the way of CIG telling us, hey, we can create a pretty interactive information stand. So yeah, welcome to the 2951 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Now, if you guys haven't seen what the heck was that? Did I just trip? I think I just tripped. That's why you're supposed to use the stairs. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen my previous coverage of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, I tend to cover every single day. And I basically give you guys my opinions on the various different ships, whether I like them, I don't like them, and for what reason, whether you should buy them or you shouldn't buy them, or whether I want to buy one or I don't want to buy one. So I give you guys my own honest opinions on every single ship each and every day, and I hope that it will help you make a better decision if you are intending on purchasing a ship. Now, why is it important? Why do people buy ships now? Because some of the ships that are available in game, that are basically available for purchase in game, aren't necessarily on sale 360 days a year. They're only on sale for a limited period of time, either during the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo or during Invictus Week, or special occasions throughout the year. So some ships aren't available for purchase throughout the whole year. That's why people wait for these events to come around before they can purchase these ships. And I hope these videos help you guys out in making a better and more informed decision. So as I said, today is Anvil Aerospace. Anvil Aerospace is a very large military contractor. They make military vehicles, military ships, so most of the ships that we're going to be seeing today are in fact military in origin. So they're originally military, but they've been given to the civilian market, hence we can purchase them here. Now before we start, this is very important, guys. Here's a caveat. If you're new to this game, please don't think that you need to purchase anything except for a starter ship with a starter package. You do not need to buy any of these ships with real money. All you need is a game package with a starter ship and you're set. you will be able to own and earn every single one of these ships that we'll be seeing for the next 2 weeks within the game, either right now in the alpha or in the future when the game is released. And in my opinion, that is a much more gratifying way of progressing through the game instead of just buying everything out cash right now. So just think about that, please. You don't need to buy anything. Just enjoy the show, use your starter ship, and I will be pointing out a few really nice starter ships if you're new to the game during the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the Anvil Arrow. The Anvil Arrow is a light fighter, as you guys can see. Focus, light fighter. So the Anvil Arrow is, just like the name suggests, it is a light fighter. Now, when they say light, this thing is really light. This thing is probably paper thin. It has the bare minimum in terms of weaponry, but it is very maneuverable. It is very agile. This thing can run circles around a Vanguard. This thing can run circles around something like a Super Hornet. Until a couple of patches ago, this thing was the ship, the combat ship to own and to circle strafe every single ship out there to death. Now, since then, I think it's been nerfed a little bit, and personally, I've never owned one, and I've never been interested in owning one. Now, my opinions on these small fighters, or any single-seat fighter, is to earn it in-game. Don't waste your money on a fighter like this. Just don't do that. Don't waste your money on a fighter like this. The money that you're using to purchase one of these could be spent much better on another ship that can give you more gameplay than just a single-seat fighter. Earn this in-game. If you like this, that's fine. Earn it in-game. Don't waste your real money on it. Now, speaking of starter ships, here is a really nice starter ship. A real nice starter ship right here. So this is the Anvil Pisces. More specifically, this is the C8X Pisces Expedition Edition. So this ship came out with the Anvil Carrick over there. So the Carrick has a special landing bay or a landing zone, which is designed specifically for the Pisces. And Pisces and Anvil and the Anvil Carrick will be linked via data link. So whatever you see in your Carrick, you can pass the information on to the Pisces or vice versa. So this is designed to be a fighter for the Carrick. Now the thing is, this ship isn't a snub ship. It isn't just a parasite craft. This thing has its own quantum drive, so it is quite independent. It is an independent ship of its own. It doesn't need the Carrick to move around, but it can be docked within the Carrick. So this thing is, I believe, offered as a starter ship with a game package. So what do I mean by a game package? So most ships in this game that you can purchase from the website, if you don't have a game package, then you won't be able to play the game. You will own the ship, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. It's a very confusing way of doing things, but you can buy an $800 ship, but if it doesn't have a game package on it, you won't be able to have access to the Alpha, the Star Citizen Alpha, which is very confusing, I know. So make sure if you're starting off in this game, make sure you buy a starter ship with a game package. So that's very important, a game package. And of course, Squadron 42 is also separate. It's also its own separate thing. So do I recommend the Anvil Pisces as a starter ship? No, I don't. I don't recommend this as a starter ship. There are much better starter ships out there, in my opinion, and this isn't it. This is a good ship. It's a good ship, but it's not a great starter ship. It's okay. It has very limited amount of cargo space. That's one of the reasons why I don't recommend the Pisces. But if you own a Carrick and for some weird reason you don't have a Pisces, get one. Definitely. If you own a Carrick, get a Pisces. Moving along. Now have a look at the weapons on display on the side of the showroom. So the one over there, the biggest gun over there, is a size 6. That's a size 6. Moving all the way down to a size 1 at the end over there, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now moving on, this is the Anvil Hawk. Now this thing is a light fighter, however it could also be classified as a bounty hunting starter ship. So this thing allows you to start in the bounty hunting gameplay. It's basically like a Boba Fett ship. It's like a Boba Fett ship. Now you can carry a single prisoner. You can carry a single prisoner here in the stasis pod, right at the back of the ship. It's a very unique ship. It's a very unique ship, but personally, I've never owned. I might have owned one at some point. I might have owned one that might have come in a package, but I had no interest in this ship. I've never had any interest in this ship. It's a light fighter with a prison cell. That's it. That's about it. And I think it either has, I'm not sure, I don't remember which one it is. It either has a quantum interdictor or an EMP to basically disable your target ship, so you can take the person, the criminal, into custody alive. So yeah, light fighter. Don't really recommend it, unless of course you like the looks. Some people love the looks of this thing. A couple of people wanted to dogfight with me PvP in this while I was in my Super Hornet, and let me just tell you, it didn't really end well for them. It's not a really good fighting PvP ship, but it does allow you to dabble into the bounty hunting aspects of the game. But overall, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it unless, of course, you like the looks. Moving on swiftly to the Anvil Hurricane. Now, the Anvil Hurricane is one of the ships that I own, and I bought this ship on concept. So when it came out in concept, I immediately bought the ship, and I did a video on it a long time ago. I did a video on this thing when it came out. It's a glass cannon. Now here it says it's a heavy fighter. But is it? Is it though? I mean, the word heavy here is used in the most vague sense of the term heavy. The ship is paper thin. It is a glass cannon, but it is really heavily armed. So you could call it a heavy fighter, maybe because it's really heavily armed. So it can be armed with a maximum of 2 fixed size 4 guns, and it has 4 size 3 guns on the turret. So it's a dual seat ship, meaning that you need a pilot and a gunner. Now, unfortunately, at the moment, you can't really slave the turret to the gunner, to the pilot. So you need a second crew member in order for you to maximize the potential of the ship. So having these issues and it being paper thin, I never really want to take out my Hurricane. I've never said to myself, let me go ahead and fly my Hurricane. Let me get into a fight with it. And also, the thing carries a lackluster bit of missiles. So it can equip 4 size 2 missiles. That's lackluster. It's lackluster. And this ship is huge. If you just have a look at it, this thing is absolutely huge. It's a huge target. Just have a look. It's a gigantic target, especially when you turn sideways. It's like the tennis court on the F-14. My DCS fans would know what I'm referring to. This thing is huge when it turns. So it's a huge target, has no armor, and it won't have any armor even when armor later on, when actual physicalized armor is implemented into the game. This is supposed to be very lightly armored. So in this thing, you do one pass and one pass only. If you kill the target, that's good. If you don't, you just fly away and come back for a second pass when it's safe to do so. You can't brawl in this thing. If you brawl in this thing, you're most likely gonna die. So I can't really recommend the Hurricane as a heavy fighter. I just can't. The Crusader Ares starfighters, the Ion and the Inferno, much better than this. Very similar price range to the Inferno and Ion, and the Inferno and Ion are actual true heavy fighters. Not like this thing. So can't really recommend the Hurricane. And that's about it for the smaller ships here. And without further ado, here is the Anvil Carrick. Yes, the mighty, mighty Carrick. Now, this thing went on concept sale, I would like to say like 7 or 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And it was for $250. So this thing was advertised for $250 8 years ago. And now it's priced at $600. So this thing has really gone up in price, in value. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. This, in my opinion, is the gold standard for the larger multi-crew ships in Star Citizen. Moving forward, this is the gold standard. Now, why do I mean by that? So this thing offers so much functionality to its owner that it's not funny. Even though this is super expensive, $600, but in my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and say this is worth it. The Carrick is worth it. It is by far one of the best ships in game right now. This is like one of the crown jewels in the Star Citizen lineup of ships. A really, really nice ship, not just because of its looks, but because of its functionality. This thing has a med bay, it has a garage, it has a really nice cargo hold, it has a cartography room, it has an armory. This thing is insane. It is like 3 or 4 levels inside the ship. You have like 3 or 4 elevators. And the really cool thing is, guys, it's being designed really nicely. It's not just the size of the ship. It's not just, you know, the looks of the ship. It is designed really nicely. Like the team that designed and concepted this thing did a great job. They did an absolute fantastic job on this ship. It has its own hangar for the Pisces. It's a really nice ship. A really, really nice multi-crew ship. Now, this thing is an explorer. It is designed to explore, to go out and explore new systems, find new planets, find asteroid belts, map jump points, find wormholes, whatever that requires exploration. This is it. Now you might be wondering, so this isn't an industrial ship, so how do you make money in this thing? You're not really, you know, mining raw materials like you would do in the Orion, or, you know, salvage stuff like you do in the Reclaimer, or repair people like in the Crucible. So how do you make money in a Carrick? Well, you can make money either 2 ways: either exploring a new area and collecting all the data and selling it to a different org, or using it for your own org, acting on it on yourself. So if you find a new asteroid belt with lots of Quantanium, well, guess what? You can either sell that information to the highest bidder and make money, or you can act on it yourself with your friends, with your buddies, and go and mine and sell the Quantanium yourself. So, I know I've said a lot about this ship, but I'm not going to go inside of it. If you guys want me to, I can make a separate video on the Carrick. Get inside the Carrick, show you all the different areas within the Carrick. But here we go again, me tripping on my face. So this is the garage. This is the garage of the Carrick. So one thing that is really awesome about this ship, one thing that stands out to me and is very important to me, is that it is designed very realistically. It is designed very sensibly. It's actually how you would think a spaceship 1,000 years in the future, if there was such a thing, would be designed. Like when you walk through the halls and the corridors, this is believable. It's actually a feasible thing. Like it isn't over the top, it isn't crazy, it isn't unbelievable. It is very believable. It's very down to earth. It's very realistic. So, in my opinion, yeah, as I said, they've done a fantastic job on the Carrick, and it is worth every single penny. The Carrick is absolutely worth it. Now, if you're not into exploration, if you're playing by yourself, if you don't have friends, don't buy the Carrick. The Carrick is enjoyed with friends. The Carrick is enjoyed with other people. The Carrick is enjoyed with a crew. If you don't have a crew, if you don't like playing with other people, then don't get the ship. Yes, you can still fly it yourself, and here's the cockpit. Here's the awesome one-piece kind of cockpit, which is the controls. The cockpit is actually, it has 2 levels. How amazing is that? So if you're going to play by yourself, you can still fly this thing around, you can still use it to some extent, but this thing is enjoyed with a crew. If you have a crew, if you have a bunch of friends who want to play Star Citizen and are dedicated and want to play with you, then yeah, having this ship is absolutely a must. It's absolutely a must. Now check out those windows up there. Just imagine flying through space and looking out the window. Great ship. Worth every single dollar, worth every single penny, every single cent. Absolutely recommend the Carrick, even though it is really, really pricey. Now, one thing, I gotta say, one thing that I just remembered. Now, this thing comes in 2 different distinct paint schemes originally, like from the factory, let's just say. So you have the paint job here, that you see here. This is called the Expedition. The Expedition paint. Now, this Expedition paint has, for some reason, become rare. Like, this ship is for $600, so if you pay $600 right now and buy a Carrick, you won't get this paint. Really, CIG? You're going to put this paint behind a paywall? For what reason? Like, the only way to get the Carrick in this paint scheme is to buy a pack for $1,200, or it's crazy, it's like $1,000-something with some other ships in there just to get this paint scheme. That's not cool. That's not cool, really. I mean, if somebody's going to pay $600 for a ship, please give them the paint that they want. Really? I mean, that's just not right. In my opinion, that's really wrong. That's one of the things that really put a sour taste in my mouth about the Carrick. You pay $600 and you still can't get the paint that you want. That's not right. But having said that, it is a ship that I do recommend, and it will have an amazing potential of gameplay for later on. At the moment, not so much. Right now, as it stands in the alpha, there's not much you can do in the Carrick except for, just drive around, move cargo, play with your friends, and that's about it. That's about it, unfortunately, for the moment. But later on, definitely. Check this out. That is so cool. Am I the only one who's getting a university campus vibe from this? This is so cool, though. Really nice. And welcome to the side hall number 3. So 3 ships here. Let's go ahead and take a look at them really quickly. So this is the F8 Lightning. This is the F8 Lightning, and I believe this is... It doesn't say which version it is. This is the F8 Heavy Fighter. Now this thing isn't available to the public, so really no point in discussing this any further, but needless to say that this thing will be a really rare ship. In fact, it is a really rare ship at the moment. Now this thing is only designed to be available to the UAE, so this is only available to the NPCs. Later, it will be available later on. Actually, it's not available now, and it's supposedly it will be very difficult for a player to either commandeer one, wink wink, or be able to actually buy one. I mean, at the moment you can't buy one of these. You can't really go to the store and on their website and just buy one. The only way that I know that somebody can get one of these is to spend a certain amount on the game and reach a certain rank in the Chairman's Club, and then you'll be gifted one of these. You'll be gifted, I think, a civilian version of one of these, the F8C Lightning Heavy Fighter. So, what's so special about this thing? Well, apparently it is armed to the teeth. You guys can see the amount of guns this thing has. Of course, it has missiles, turrets, armor, maneuverability. Supposedly this thing has it all. But as I said, it's not for sale, so it's kind of irrelevant for us to talk about any further. Moving along to the Anvil Terrapin. Here's the turtle. The Anvil Terrapin is a Pathfinder. So I remember when this thing came out in concept a couple of years ago. I'm not sure what to think of the Terrapin, to be honest. Like, I don't have an opinion on the Terrapin, if I'm being honest with you guys. So this is supposedly an exploration ship. So this thing can explore. It's a Pathfinder. It's a reconnaissance ship. But it's a military ship. It's definitely a military ship. So pilot and scanner. That is it. Pilot, scanner, a really heavily armored ship that can absorb a lot of shots. And it supposedly has some really nice sensors to look really out there beyond visual range and to do a complete scan and to send that information back to the fleet for a better picture of what's lying ahead. So you've got a full set of beds and stuff like that in here. You got rifle racks, you know, a bathroom, you know, all kinds of stuff that you need for the crew to live in here. But what would you use this for? I've never owned a Terrapin, and I'm probably never going to own a Terrapin. And if it does come with some sort of pack somewhere with LTI, I might just use it to upgrade to something else. Now, you guys might be wondering, what the hell is LTI? So I'll try and explain during this video what LTI is. LTI stands for Lifetime Insurance. Lifetime Insurance. So not all ships come with lifetime insurance. Not all ships come with lifetime insurance. Now, it's going to take a while for me to explain all of this, so I'm going to just go ahead and talk about the Anvil Valkyrie. So this is one of the ships that does what it's supposed to do really well. This is a dropship. This thing is a dropship, and it does its job perfectly, wonderfully. This thing is designed to transport soldiers. It is designed to move soldiers from point A to point B into combat, and it does it masterfully. Have a look at all these jump seats, whatever you want to call them, places for infantry, for Marines to sit while you move them from point A to point B. Have a look. Great ship at that, and it is designed to carry, as you guys can see in the garage, a vehicle, an armored vehicle. Let's just say an Anvil Spartan, right? So this is perfect for a Spartan. Great ship, great ship. You got these side doors with these miniguns, deploying machine gun. Have a look at that. How cool is that? How freaking awesome is that? Go ahead and put it back. Yeah, really nice ship that does what it's supposed to do beautifully. Now, do I recommend the Anvil Valkyrie? Depends. Are you in an org? Are you able to carry that many soldiers into battle? Is that something that you're into? If you are, then you probably don't need my advice. You're already looking for this ship and you probably own one. But if you're playing with only a couple of friends, I don't really recommend you guys buy one of those, really. There are better ships that you can play with if you're only like a couple of friends, but this thing does what it says it does beautifully. So if you're into that, go ahead and pick one up. Now let's go ahead and visit Hall number 2. Hall number 2 is where all the fighters are. Now most of these ships here, even the ships that are on sale normally will still be on sale for the next 2 weeks. However, there are a bunch of ships that are hull limited ships. So those are ships that CIG want to limit the number of in the game. So stuff like the Javelin or like the Kraken and Privateer and stuff like that. So those ships will be only available for a limited number. So if you want to pick one of those ships up, those are some really expensive ships. Now, if you want to pick one of those up, you have to be quick. Because literally, like the 890 jump, like literally on the day Origin goes on sale, like all of the 890 jumps are gone within a minute. Like, I'm not joking, guys. This is so freaking weird. Like, all of the 890 jumps will be sold out within a minute. All of the Krakens and Privateers and Javelins, it is literally gone in a second. But enough about those ships. Let's have a look at the Anvil Hornets. So this is the single-seat F7C. So this was, still is, the quintessential Star Citizen fighter. Now, I've never owned an F7C. It's supposedly a medium fighter. It is a single-seat medium fighter. I've flown one. It's nicely armed, but it's apparently really nicely armored. Now, armor isn't in the game yet. But before, and I'll explain in a minute why I mean before. Before, these things used to be pretty tanky, the Hornets. Not anymore, but before they used to be pretty tanky. Not really maneuverable. Nice armament, respectable armament, but really nicely armored, and pretty decent run-of-the-mill fighter. Now, the F7C is the base one, and the F7C Wildfire, it is just a cosmetic upgrade to the base F7C. My God, isn't that music loud? Music is so loud. The F7C Wildfire just basically has a paint job and some better weapons and some better components, and that is it. Otherwise, it is exactly the same thing as the F7C. The F7C is available during the whole year, so it's not a limited ship. It is not by any means a special ship. It's available all the time, but this one, the Wildfire, is available in limited times, like IAE and Invictus. So yeah, do I recommend the F7C? Not really. Do I recommend the Wildfire? No, not really, unless of course you like the paint job, you like the way it looks, but then again, you can earn these ships in game. Just remember that. Now here's a ship that I will recommend immediately. This is the beautiful F7CM Super Hornet. Now, I wanted one of these ships for a long time when I started Star Citizen. When I just got into Star Citizen 8 years ago, I wanted one of these ships so bad, and I did get one. I have one. I have an F7CM Super Hornet. Now, the only difference between a Super Hornet and a normal Hornet is that it has 2 seats. So, pilot, gunner, navigator, whatever you want to call it. A chin turret, and another turret up top. So yeah, more weaponry, more firepower, and of course an extra crew. But this thing was one of the best, if not the best fighter 5-6 years ago. This thing was the quintessential bounty hunting ship. This thing was absolutely amazing until very recently. I think it was like patch 3.10, I want to say, where this thing started to go downhill. Now, fear not, this is just temporary. Like, it has some issues with the shields and stuff like that, so it dies really quickly. This thing has, for some reason, has become really fragile. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be quite tanky, but it isn't. It's at the moment, as I said, this is like a temporary problem. But if you're interested in the Hornets, if you're interested in a ship with really nice armor, later on, not now, later on, with some really nice armor and a blistering array of firepower, okay-ish maneuverability, this is the ship for you. This thing was so fun playing it in PvP and PvE 5-6 years ago, even 3 years ago. This thing was awesome, absolutely awesome. Can't recommend this enough if you're into a fighter. Now, there is another version of this. There's another version of this which is just cosmetically different. It is called the F7CM Heartseeker. So it's the Heartseeker version of this. So the only difference is better components, stock. It comes with better components, better energy weapons, and of course a paint job, a really nice red and white paint job. And it has nose art, so just like the World War II planes that used to have like some sort of painting of a girl and something like that. It has that, and it's only on sale on Valentine's Day. So it goes on sale only on Valentine's Day, and I want one of those as well. I probably will trade this for a Heartseeker. I'll probably melt that for a Heartseeker. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you want that, you have to wait for Valentine's Day. Now here's the F7A. The F7A is the military version of the F7C. So this thing is the militarized version. Of course, better components, better guns, but this thing isn't available for sale. I have never seen one of these things go on sale, like ever. So even if this was on sale before, it must have been a very long time ago. Like I'm talking longer than 7 years. Or of course maybe, unless of course I've completely missed it. But if you get a chance to buy one of these, and if you're into buying like rare ships, this is pretty rare. This is a pretty rare ship. So if you're into buying rare ships, definitely get one. It's a really nice Hornet. It's much better than the normal Hornet. Moving on. Here's the F7S. So this is the stealth version of the base Hornet. This is not like a Super Hornet. This is just the F7C single seat, but stealth. So this is the Ghost. Behold the Ghost, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a stealthier Hornet. So if you like your Hornet, but you're like, how can I make this thing more stealthy? Well, here's the answer for you. Anvil has you covered. So this thing actually does what it says it does on the package. This is actually pretty stealthy. This is pretty stealthy. I've flown one. It's actually pretty nice. It does what it says it does. It has quite a low signature. It has radar absorbing paint. Supposedly that's why it's painted black. It forgoes the top gun, the mount here, the bowl turret on the top, for an IR suppressant vent or something. So this thing is actually pretty stealthy. It's pretty stealthy. It does what it says it does. And if you want a stealthier Hornet, look no further. Look no further than the F7S Ghost. But there are stealthier ships. There are stealthier fighters than this, and we will see those ships probably tomorrow. And here is the F7R. So this is the Hornet Tracker. Now this thing was always an enigma to me. I never got the Hornet Tracker. And here's why. So instead of the bowl turret on the top, this thing has a radar dish. So it has a scanner up the top, a pretty big scanner, I might add. So where the Hornet Ghost is stealthy, this guy is supposed to look for things. It's supposed to look and track and find things. I'm just going to let you in on a secret, which isn't really a secret. The Hornets are really old, guys. The Hornets that we have in the game right now are from the beginnings of this Star Citizen project. Back then, these were the only ships pretty much in the game. And people were like, oh yeah, a Hornet Tracker, I'm going to use it to track people, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Why would you do that in a fighter now? There are ships much, much better at tracking than the Hornet Tracker. This thing is just a fighter. This thing doesn't have a lot of fuel. Say you're in a system like Pyro. Who are you going to be tracking in this thing? This thing, you probably won't even make it in Pyro. There's literally no fuel out there. So either you'll have a Liberator to carry this thing around, or this thing is just dead in the water in Pyro. So I never understood the concept of the Hornet Tracker, what you would use it for. Maybe if you have a fleet of Hornets and you use a couple of these as a command and control vehicle, possibly, but by yourself, yeah, you definitely go for the F7 Cm Super Hornet instead of any of the other Hornets in here, unless of course the F7A goes on sale. The Ghost does what it says it does really well, but we have to say this as well. I have to say this: the whole tracking and scanning gameplay isn't in game yet. So once that's in the game, that's a thing. Maybe this thing will be great. but I don't understand it. I can't recommend it. So in conclusion, for the Hornets, I 100% can recommend the F7 Cm Super Hornet or the Super Hornet Heartseeker, whichever one you guys like. F7A is never on sale, but if it ever goes on sale, yeah, sure, go ahead and pick it up. The F7C is always on sale, like you can always buy this. Heartseeker is just an upgrade. I don't recommend these two Hornets. It's just single seat fighters that you can earn in game. Super Hornet, yes, definitely. The Ghost is just a stealthier Hornet, but it does what it says it does. The Tracker, I don't get. I don't get the Tracker, so I don't recommend the Tracker. Just get the F7 CM Super Hornet if you're into the Hornets. That's a great ship. That's a ship that you'll have a lot of fun in. And of course, if you have a friend, if you have a buddy, you can buddy up with them as well. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and check out the holo tables and the vehicles on the lower level. So usually this place is exclusive to ground vehicles and ships that aren't in game yet. So here is the Anvil Ballista. So the Anvil Ballista is, of course, made by Anvil Aerospace. Now this thing is a giant anti-aircraft system on wheels. So this is essentially the equivalent, the futuristic equivalent of the SA-11. So this is designed as an aerial denial weapon. So you park one of these somewhere close to a point of interest on a surface of a planet or a moon, and you can just shoot ships down. So you can attack, you can fire upon ships that are in the atmosphere close to where you are. And of course it has 2 size 7 missiles, a couple of size 5s, and some size 4s, and of course the dual Gatling guns as well. So a really nice ground vehicle that is used as an AA, pretty much, is to defend an airspace. Now there isn't much of a gameplay for this right now. There's no point in defending any place on a planet or a moon with this thing, but when bases come online, when players are allowed to have bases and stuff like that, this will be a very useful vehicle. Now, should you buy one with real money? Absolutely not. Forget about the Ballista, guys. You can pick this up in game. It says anti-aircraft. You can pick a Ballista up really easily in the game. No need to buy this thing. Here's my philosophy for buying ships in this game. Buy a ship that you really love to play, that you really like the lifestyle that ship represents. Don't buy a ship that is just a tool. The Ballista is just a tool. It's a tool used to get a certain job done. You can buy the tool in-game. You don't need to spend your real money. Now, speaking of tools, here is the latest tool from Anvil Aerospace. So this is the Spartan, Anvil Spartan. So this thing has just been released today. It is straight ready to drive. Now for ships, you would say straight ready to flyable, but this thing is ready to drive. So what is the Spartan? So this is essentially on the same Atlas chassis that the Ballista is. So this looks very similar to the Ballista because they have the same chassis, same platform. So this is essentially just an armored personnel carrier. This is on the same chassis as the Anvil Ballista, the Atlas, I believe it is, the Atlas chassis, but this is the armored personnel carrier version of that vehicle. So you can carry soldiers, 2, 4, 8, total of 8 soldiers. So you can carry 8 soldiers. Of course, you've got the side doors for easy ingress and egress, and of course you've got the single driver, the driver's seat here. Now, should you buy one of these? Now, if you've looked at my videos, if you've been paying attention, I don't recommend you guys buy one. However, this thing comes with LTI. Now it's time to talk about LTI, to explain what LTI to some of you guys are out there. You might not know what LTI is. As I said, LTI is lifetime insurance. Now, some ships have LTI. Now, the reason for that is mainly those ships who have LTI are ships that are out in concept or have been recently released. So the whole idea, the whole philosophy behind LTI was that people have spent their real world money on this pixel ship, and this is a video game. So if people later on in the game, when the game releases and they lose the ship, it gets stolen, it gets blown up, do they lose that ship that they've paid real money for in a game, in a video game? So the idea behind LTI was that if you paid real money for a ship or a vehicle or anything in game, you shouldn't technically lose it. So there'd be insurance, you'd get lifetime insurance, and you know, after a certain time period, your ship will be ready to fly again at no extra cost within the game, right? But now CIG have done something that I'm guessing most people probably don't agree with. So what they've done is, in the past, every ship that was recently released or was released on concept, if you bought it, it came with LTI. Now it's no longer the case. Now you can buy ships either with real money or with in-game store credit for other ships that you have melted, that you've exchanged for store credit. Now, if you buy the Spartan now with real money, it comes with LTI. If you buy it with in-store credit, it won't come with LTI. Why? In-store credit is still real money, right? It is still real money that you spend on the Star Citizen website. So how come you don't get LTI? I guess a lot of people used it. You used the LTI thing for CCU tokens. Now CCU means cross chassis upgrade. So they would buy a Spartan like this, right? Because it has LTI, then they would upgrade to another ship that won't come with LTI, and the LTI from this would get upgraded with the ship, so now the new ship would have LTI, if it makes any sense. I'll probably have confused you guys with all these mumbo-jumbo insurance terms. So, yeah, this thing I don't recommend, but if you want to buy the Spartan now and use it as an LTI token, you can do that, but you have to pay real money, not store credits. War bond is what they call it, where you have to spend new money pretty much instead of store credits. So this thing is actually pretty good as an LTI token. So you can buy the ship, it comes with LTI, upgrade it to another ship of a higher value, the LTI will get transferred over as well. I hope that makes that makes sense. Probably most of you understand this and you're like, Marshall, we're not interested in this, we're just gonna skip it forward. We're not interested, just show us the ships. And here are the ships that are only available as a display. So these ships aren't in game, and this thing was recently on concept. It was recently released on concept, and unfortunately I didn't get to do a video on it. If you guys want me to do a video on this, I can. Just tell me if you want a buyer's guide or something on this thing. I can happily do that. Look up more information on the ship and put it all together in a nice video for you guys about the Anvil Liberator. So what is this thing? This is a transport. So the Liberator is designed to transport either 2 small fighters and 1 or 2 ground vehicles, or 3 fighters and 1 ground vehicle. I think something like that, and a bunch of infantry and a bunch of troops. So this thing is like a pocket carrier. This thing is like a small carrier designed for you to be able to transport your small fighters. So something like the Hornet. You guys remember I just said the Hornet would struggle in a system like Pyro? Well, if you have one of these, if you have a Liberator, you can load the Hornet up with your friends and your other ships and your ballistas and your Spartans and your infantry all onto this ship and move them around within Pyro. Basically, it's a ship that allows you to project power. It's a small carrier. This thing is a small poor man's carrier. This thing is the poor man's Kraken. It's essentially a ship that is designed to move around ships that are too small to move in large distances across space. So, as I said, a Hornet would struggle to move anywhere within Pyro. You'd run out of fuel and you'd be stuck in the middle of nowhere. You need to transport the smaller fighters on something like this, or of course a larger carrier as well, like the Kraken. So would this be good? Who should buy this? Did I buy one? No, I'm not interested in this. I have no interest in this. You should buy one of these if you really are dead set to play with small fighters that can't quantum drive by themselves. They don't have enough quantum fuel to move from point A to point B, or of course ground vehicles. So this is more like towards an org type gameplay. So if you're in an org that does a lot of PvP, then perhaps, yeah, this is probably a good vehicle for you. If you're playing by yourself, I don't recommend you buy this. But yeah, as I said, if you guys want me to do a separate video on this, let me know. This is just a pocket carrier. If you want to play with friends and you have a bunch of fighters to move, a bunch of ground vehicles to move from point A to point B, just to do raiding, like base raiding and stuff like that, to project power, absolutely a really nice ship. It's a small pocket carrier that can allow you to carry infantry and of course ground vehicles and ships as well. Now I think that's about it for the first day of the 2951 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching day one of the IAE 2951. I hope you guys found this video entertaining and somewhat useful. Now if you guys have any questions with regards to these ships or anything that I've said in this video, go ahead and leave it down in the comments section below, and I will happily go ahead and read it and try and answer your questions if I can. And if I can't, I'll try and look for it, find you the answer, and go ahead and help you out. So thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. See you on day two. Take care, and bye-bye.